You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
Go ahead, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of AddSpace. I'm your host, Aaron Rand Freeman, but with me, the actual host, CEO, CFO, owner, proprietor, head designer, head therapist, chief architect, travel czar, and now the recreation coordinator. Congratulations, Elise Bacon. Bacon, congratulations.
I will only accept the recreational coordinator because I have gotten 5 queers addicted to a game.
What game is this?
Coral Island.
Ah, I know Coral Island.
So what happened is Wonga the Great has been on my case affectionately more than you and RD have been on me for Uden Chronicles to play Coral Island. And when I can't ignore Wonga,
You can't know.
I can't ignore Wonga. Wonga sends gifts. Wonga sends snacks.
He's the most beloved person in the
literally the most beloved fucking person. And so I was like, okay, first off, it's a farming sim. So like, I mean, we're already there. Second off, the art is great. It's
Right.
also an indie game, and it's got melanated people, and it's dating sim because dating farming sim. My life. There's no question here about why I'm here.
So
And so I am playing Coral Island, and I have been recruiting the gays to also play Coral Island
all right.
because this game has the largest amount of melanated uh dating options I have seen in any game.
Really?
Yes.
Is it like I didn't know it was a
Unambiguously melanated.
I mean, I do love that.
I'm gonna post some screenshots of the singles in the group chat.
All right.
One of them doesn't look quite melanated, but I promise he is.
Oh wow, a lot of brown people.
I'm not done.
Oh, there's a lot of brown people.
There's so many brown people.
That's a shocking amount of brown people here.
There's so many brown people, and they're adding mermaids in to be dateable. And guess what? The mermaids are also brown. And look, there's a variety of brown people. There's black and brown people of different like backgrounds and names and hairstyles. We've got multiple Negroes, each with a different hairstyle. There's a mixed race Negro. There's several mixed race Negroes.
It looks like there are South Asian people.
There are South Asians.
Latinos. Everything is here. That's marvelous.
Yes.
It is one of my biggest problems with looking at with farming sims is you kind of have like a small white village selection. Now, it's well written, well designed, very thoughtful, and I appreciate it. But it's still the murderer's row of white people in a village town in America. And
no, this town is on the middle of an island. It's called Coral Island. There's a lot like the creators of the game were really into making sure it's got a lot of diversity built in. There's a pride flag just outside of the city hall. One of the doctors tells you to get a flu shot, like a flu vaccine, and tells you the appropriate time in which to get it. Part of what you're doing with the game is cleaning up debris that's in the ocean because this fucking company decided to do oil drilling next to a neighboring island, and it caused a massive oil spill that fucked up the island. So you're actually like, part of your goal is to save the island from like this fucking oil drilling company I'm like, I'm literally cleaning up trash. And one of the festivals is like replanting trees. There's just like a lot of thought and care put into cutscenes. And I was like, this this pink liberal Okami agenda is out here. And there is an interracial queer lesbian couple. I was very upset I couldn't date one of the characters, and then I found out she's married, and then I found out she's got a wife. And I was like, well, I'm a little less mad, but I'm still upset.
Oh, this is
She's a black lady with short hair, and she's an artist, and she does painting. And I'm like, let me date them.
Can you like be like?
Married.
Can you be like an? Can you be like a third?
No. Upset. But yes, so I have gotten some of the gays because, like, you know, we're waiting for the expansion with Final Fantasy 14, and my FC is got how many straights, Justin?
I count 3.
Out of like how many people?
More than 30.
Yeah. So we're all just taking breaks and just vibing. And so I'm like, so I'm playing this game called Coral Island, and there's a lot of like hot people, lots of hot people that are age appropriate. Cause that's another thing I have an issue with a lot of farming sims is the dateable options. They're like, I'm feeling 18 to 20-year-old vibes from you instead of 20 to 30-year-old vibes from you, right? Every one of these characters is a goddamn adult, like clearly an adult. Some of them live on their own, even or with roommates.
Oh my god! As a 40
Or-
year as a person of a certain age, I can't. I'm so happy to hear you say that.
There are people, Aaron, who I'm pretty sure are in your age group.
Yeah, date 50-year-old brown people, please. Oh,
Okay, not that age group.
I mean that's fine. I mean that's my preferred age group. I actually hit I hit I was in a coffee shop and I hit a mother and her daughter with the oh you and your sister line, and the mom was very pleased. She's about 55. I was like I did it, and I was very pleased with myself as I'm in that age group finally. Like I was talking about I'm in the age group and I'm like get to flirt with 50-year-old women finally. Fucking hell. Thank you.
Did I tell you that I got hit on by somebody who's like looking for the older age group folks? Like I was not on their radar at all until they found out my age.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
That shit was hysterical. I don't know if I told you about that, Justin. I had a thing where I was just chatting and I can't remember how it came up. But I was like, nigga, I am a whole 37. And then they went, oh, what? Excuse me? Like head, like you could hear the head turn and they're like, what?
Yeah, you get that.
And I said, yeah, I'm 37. I'm turning 38 in July. And they're like, oh, hello. Hello.
Did they slick back? They slick back their eyebrows a little bit.
You can hear it. It was just
You know
like,
what I mean?
I was like, not on the market until you just said the number high.
But yeah,
I will never forget that. That like it's been like over a month and I'm still living that high.
that's why.
But yes,
that's why you're the recreation coordinator. We also have Justin here. Justin.
we also have Justin, who I
Yeah.
referenced several times, and I was so excited to talk about Coral Island that you
I
were
know.
not forgotten.
Listen, we needed to bring him in, and I just needed to kick open the door because at some point I realized you were way more excited about the brown people on Coral Island than I thought you were going to be, which is not bad. But I was not.
I
Prepared.
was
You were
not
very
prepared.
Excited. You were very excited about it. So, Justin, all right.
Look, I'm here. I'm vibing. There's no there is no shade. I know I wasn't forgotten. I was enjoying the ride.
Justin, there are definitely some of your type in there.
Oh, I see.
Oh no.
I see.
Yeah, do you see? Because I can tell you that, like, I have some swimsuit editions to show you.
Sensational.
Listen. This game's got some gays who made the game. I was just like, hello.
You know, I see the roster, my ever expanding backlog. So I have a problem. It's not really a problem, but you know, first world problems. I have so few first world problems that you know, first world problem. But anyways, so the expansion comes out when I'm not going to be near my console. Like I'm going to be gone for a whole month before I get to play it.
Bro, what? Why?
Justin, no, you can't leave me with expansion by myself.
Yeah, that's.
Look,
I didn't know this was a thing. Like, how can we rectify this?
I thought, there's no rectifying it. I refuse to bring my like when I take my summer trip, I'm not bringing my console. So there's not that is a choice I am making. There's no rectifying this. I'm not doing it. Nothing will fix this. So, but that means, like, I'll still be around. Like, I'll be in the Discord and I'll be like monitoring things, but I'm not going to be in the game.
I don't want to handle an expansion by myself.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Don't make me do it by myself. It's so much.
I thought it was coming out in August. I was like, okay, cool. It'll be fine. Like, what's the official release date for Dawn Trail?
So when is it coming out then?
I think it's like the first week of July.
And
yes, because early access is end of June.
So
then
the official
4 days of early access.
So it's coming out like a month earlier than they said.
No.
Oh.
We didn't know when they said it was coming out.
Yeah,
it comes out
July 2nd. It comes out July 2nd. I will definitely be gone. And I'm gone until August. Like all of July, I'm gone.
My God.
All by myself. Don't wanna be all by myself.
Here's where the problem comes in, because like when the expansion drops, like typically you can finish a mainline expansion in about a month and a half, right?
Yes.
And then you're just grinding until like the real end point is when they drop the first raid series. And that's when the new crafting recipes drop. So that means when I get back, I'm going to have to sprint. Actually, no, I don't have to sprint to the end. All I got to do is get my crafters up. As long as I'm able to craft things that people gather, we'll be fine for the first set of raids. So yeah, I got time.
You gotta finish the base to get the recipes.
Oh yeah, I do. Crap baskets. Because I'm gonna need those.
You have to
need the new
unlock
recipes. Yep.
You have to unlock the vendor.
Well, crap baskets. Oh well, I'll figure something out. It'll be fine.
I mean, what if you remote played your console from time to time?
Yeah, I could, but I don't want to.
Oh, I see.
He wants to take a vacation.
Family time.
And
yes.
And I love Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 is a job, an enjoyable job, but when you running shit, it's a job.
Yes, and I would rather be spending time with my family, enjoying that family time. You know,
that's why you're the greatest dad in America, by the way. If you, for example, this is what I mean. You don't even have to make a case. You just are. It just is a consistency, and then elevating when it matters most is why you're the greatest dad of all time. It's kind of like this. This to be clear. So in case you were wondering how you won the award again, this was a big jump right here, choosing to not playing Final Fantasy for a full month to enjoy your family by choice. Phenomenal.
I mean, they make it easy. They're a good group. But yeah, so that's not the problem though. Here's the problem. The new NCAA comes out at the end of July, and that's where things get tricky, because I was going to be done the new NCAA football. I was going to be done with the expansion and like in maintenance mode when that came out, so I could just do that. But now my backlog gets pushed back even further. This is my first world problem. Oh, and we're getting a new Stellaris expansion too.
Yeah,
I'm refusing to think about it.
I think we might have to have Hegs on. There's a listener, Hegs. We're not going to drop the whole government. He might not know if he wants to be on, but like, I know they've been playing NBCA football for like forever, and they're like the biggest college football person that I know. So then we're gonna have to have them on the show with Justin, because we're gonna have to discuss this. Because isn't this the one where some of the players actually get paid for their services? Or am I crazy?
Yep. This is so a little bit of history. EA Sports has the college football, or they have they actually still they never lost the college football license, the license to make college football games. They've had it forever. They stopped making these games in 2014 because of a lawsuit, the Ed O'Bannon case, where several courts said, yeah, you're profiting off of the likeness of these players, and you're not paying them.
Right.
If you just give them a cut, you can continue to make the games. EA was cool with it. The NCAA, who's the license, like they have, that's the license, is the NCAA license. They said we would rather die.
That's their way, yeah.
10 years later, they are actually, in fact, dying. All of this could have been avoided had they just paid the players. Like, so we're and this is a discussion for D Palm's podcast, UD Pod. What's happening with the NCAA now is after decades of not paying the players and the players saying, hey, we're making billions of dollars for you people and you're giving us housing and food. Make your analogy here. Several court systems came down and like, not just like your liberal court. Samuel Alito said, hey, this is fucked up, guys. Maybe you should pay them or at least allow them to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. So,
right, because that was part of the issue. Is it's just like you can't refuse to pay them and then let them not gain profits. You can't do both. You can have one or the other, or you can allow them to have like let them get all the shit, but you can't unallow them access to all of that.
right.
That doesn't this actually doesn't work.
So there is a whole shadow economy in college sports because what makes college sports run, these schools are not, their recruiting budgets do not come from the schools themselves. The recruiting budgets come from boosters, and boosters are just rich people who want to spend money on their school because that's how they get their rocks.
I've
that's what
never
makes college
understood
sports
that,
go.
but it's fine.
Yeah, this is what makes college sports go. A booster class that loves to drop millions of dollars on a school to make them better so they can brag to their rich friends about how much better their school is than the other school. There's a great documentary, a 30 for 30 called Pony Express. When oil was big in Texas, all the Texas schools, all these modern day oil barons had a bunch of disposable cash, and what did they do with it? They'd spend it on their schools so they could have dick measuring contests with their friends. This led to SMU, one of their boosters, gave the school so much money they actually had a payroll. This is 1980s. They actually had a payroll, like envelopes after each game of cash. Here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. They shut that shit down so fast because the NCAA exists for two purposes. The NCAA exists to put on a basketball tournament and to prevent players from being paid.
Yes.
Those are the only two functions of the NCAA: put on a basketball tournament and prevent players from being paid. They failed at one of those things. And since they failed at the one, all the other conferences have now banded together to say, we're just going to put these players on payroll and have a salary cap, like have a salary structure. We don't need the NCAA anymore, which means we don't need you to put on your little tournament anymore because that's a TV production anyways.
Whoops.
All of your college football games are not produced by the NCAA. They're produced by Disney. Your college football playoff is produced by Disney. Most of your bowl games are on ESPN. It's a Disney production. You don't think Disney's about to buy the rights to March Madness and just have all these games on your ESPN affiliates? This is a great way to force people to get Disney Plus. Great way to force people to Hulu, which Disney also owns.
I forgot Disney bought Hulu.
Right.
So, and all of this could have been avoided if the NCAA had gotten ahead of this and said, we're going to have a salary cap structure similar to what we have in professional sports. And that's how we will manage this thing. We'll have scholarships, we'll have contracts, we'll have pensions, we'll do this correctly. But instead, because they didn't have that, I referenced the shadow economy earlier. There's a whole shadow economy that exists for boosters to take their money and give it to players. It varies from football to basketball. In basketball, that shadow economy is literally laundering money from boosters to shoe companies to AAU college leagues. That it's an actual thing. Like FBI investigations have occurred because of this money laundering scheme. Like that is how dedicated these boosters were to getting their money into these 13-year-olds' hands. And yes, I'm saying 13-year-olds because that's how early it starts. They were
Yes.
committing federal crimes. Like there was a RICO investigation surrounding, was it DeAndre Ayton? I think it was DeAndre Ayton.
It was him.
Yeah. Like there was an actual RICO investigation around the money laundering that went to get him money.
Pray tell us, what's a RICO investigation?
Oh, buddy. It's racketeering. I forget what the whole thing, but it's racketeering. It's basically organized crime. If someone gets hit with a RICO, like Sean Diddy Combs, Sean Combs is about to get hit with a RICO. That's
Woo!
basically, you are an organized crime, and we're bringing the full weight of the United States Justice Department against you. RICO, we don't. Department of Justice doesn't play with RICO investigations. So if you see it like it's okay, racketeering, influence, and corruptions organization. So basically, organized crime. There was a RICO investigation around DeAndre Ayton, and there's several other like minor investigations where the feds actually get involved because these boosters are funneling money through shoe companies, and the shoe companies funnel money through AAU leagues, and the AAU leagues funnel these kids to these schools based on where the money is being laundered to them. There was a whole shadow, that's how it works in basketball. And football, it's a little more nuanced than that because the shoe companies aren't as heavy into the football game as they are in the basketball game. But there's a whole shadow economy, literal bagmen, like taking bags and dropping duffel bags of cash off to recruit players to schools. I say all that to say all of this is happening under the NCAA's nose, and they didn't care because their objective is to prevent schools from paying players directly. Shadow economies are fine, but we're not going to we're going to keep these kids as broke as possible so that we can have some level of control over them. Because the shadow economies, here's where we get weirdly political in your sports. Migrant workers, day workers, that is a shadow economy. Yes, you're getting paid for your labor, but you have no security in your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was about to say that pay is
not great.
Right. Not only is the pay not great, there's no security in it. They can withhold pay for any reason.
yes,
It's very similar to the sharecropping system, right? So shadow economies are fine because the payer still has all of the power. They can withhold that money, right? You're beholden to them because they're giving you a little bit and you're dependent on them for that little bit that you get. NIL opens the door, and now these kids have agency. They can negotiate. That strips power away from them and puts it on labor. The whole point of the NCAA was to prevent the empowerment of labor. And now labor is being empowered. Labor got so empowered that it kind of broke the system. It is not lost on me that EA Sports is making a college football game when the NCAA is at its weakest. And when the conferences have all but said, okay, we don't need you anymore. We're just going to start paying these players directly. One of my favorite things to happen after NIL, name, image, and likeness, which is basically players are allowed to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. You're getting a whole lot of sports in your gaming show today. We'll get back to games, I promise.
I mean, this is okay. Again, I'm gonna do the mandatory disclaimer. This is called ADD Space. We talk about all sorts of nerdisms, and guess what fucking sports is, everybody? Nerd culture, you fucking dweebs.
Also, NCAA
Oh, this
football.
is fucking fancy.
Also, it's a video game that's a long time coming. It's going to sell 1 million copies. There are so many people dying for this game that have been waiting for a proper college football video game for over. When's the last one that came out?
2013, NCAA 14.
Right, a decade, and people haven't stopped playing them. So yeah, this is gaming related. It's going to outsell Madden.
Yes,
it will. So yeah.
Also, the folks behind this, it is a whole different team than the Madden team, and they said what they wanted to avoid was having this become Madden. Because
wait. This is a different team besides the guys who make Madden?
Yes.
Oh shit! Really? A new football game then?
Yeah, it's a brand new football game.
We're getting a brand new football game?
Yes.
Aaron's so excited right now.
I thought it was just Madden again, and I didn't mind it because the players were getting paid, and there are a lot of people very excited for it. I didn't know it was a new football game.
Yes, no. The objective of the creative objective of this was to not have this game be college Madden.
Oh my god.
They said they wanted to focus on the presentation layer. They wanted the single player experience, the dynasty experience to feel the way it used to feel. Because my complaint with Madden for the longest has been Madden has gone the direction of focusing on the gotcha element, right? Madden, all modern sports games now have a gotcha element, have a loot box element where they have an ultimate team where you just pull packs to get players, you put your team together based on those players, you go online and you take that team and play other players online. And that is successful because you spend in-game currency to get that. You earn in-game currency by playing the game, or you can pay money for in-game currency to buy more packs. So that's why Madden makes its money off of Madden Ultimate Team. NBA 2K also has this, but that's not where 2K makes its money. 2K makes its money from its single player experience where you have to buy in-game currency to level up your character. That's where 2K makes its money from.
Right.
And that's why 2K is a miserable experience.
Yeah.
NBA 2K's redeeming factor, though, is their franchise modes are the best in video games. Like the presentation layer is sensational. Like playing the basketball feels good at every level, from novice to expert. Like it just feels good. Managing a team feels good, and Madden managing a team, like it feels okay. It doesn't feel good. The presentation level of Madden is very bare bones and lackluster. You can tell it wasn't made for a franchise experience. It was made for an arcade, I'm playing somebody right now experience.
Right.
In older Maddens, this is an example of how the single player experience in Madden has devolved. In older Maddens, salary cap was based off of the real life calculations that are made to determine how much salary is allocated to the players. The CBA happens, and I'm just going to throw out a number. This wasn't the number at the time. I'm going to throw out a number. 60% of revenues went to salary cap. Right. And because in Madden franchise mode, you're actually making money for your franchise, they had a number of how much money each franchise was making, and they could take that and adjust the salary cap that way.
Right.
So your salary cap would increase proportionate to, like it would actually increase in proportionate to revenues, and as contracts expanded, you still have to do some cap management, but it wasn't absurd.
Right.
They got lazy later on, and they just do a flat 2% increase. That doesn't line up with inflation in contracts, which still happens. So you end up, your cap management is not a realistic experience. You just have, like, you pay one play, like you have one player that's really good, typically your quarterback, you pay them all of the money, and then you have to like scrap around and try to get other pieces to fit. But because everybody's operating under the same cap, what ends up happening is you have a bunch of really good players. The highest rating you can have is 99. You have a bunch of 99 overalls that can't be signed because your cap is broken and end up taking low contracts. And that's how you build your super teams. That's a lot of words to say. Madden has neglected that side of the house and gone all in on the loot box aspect.
Listen, I love to hear it. I've abandoned Madden long ago. I download Madden. I will get a Madden if the Bengals are good, as a commemoration of the Bengals being good, because we don't know when eventually the owner will be like, you know what, I'd like to recoup all of my money, and the Bengals will then no longer be good ever again. So I don't know. So that's it. So any of the nuts and bolts, I love to hear about it. So there's absolutely did not know that. That is very helpful information.
Yeah, the objective of the new college football game, which also not called NCAA, they're calling it college football. Further evidence of the weakening of the NCAA.
Football?
Aaron's so hyped right now.
This EA Sports College Football. So that's what it's called.
The fact that it's not Madden and it's like double middle fingers to NCAA, which is just it's a oppressive organization. So it's just Please
all
continue.
NCAA branding is removed from the game. Well, not the not the game, but you know what I mean. Like all advertising. There's no NCAA in any of the advertising.
Wow.
But what they wanted to focus on was the single player experience, whether you're managing the school as a whole, where you actually have the ability to build up your coordinators. They snuck in an RPG in your football games, but they've done this for years now. Where like all your coaches have skill trees, and you level up those skill trees and unlock certain skills and unlock certain perks and passives.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that for fucking ever.
Right. They also have the single player experience where you're a student on the campus. Like you control one player and you try to get your stats up. Do the whole thing, manage your brand, get your grades up. Um, what I hope they bring back, because when I was in college, we all had an NCAA franchise or NCAA season, and what I enjoyed was getting those reports about your player cheating in class. It's like you got to suspend them. And it's like, do I play if I'm playing computer, yeah, I'll suspend you because I can. It's computer. We're always going to beat computer. I'm playing a user. My starting quarterback is cheating on a test. I'm supposed to suspend him. Guess what I'm not doing today?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have an investigation and a probationary period before we come to a conclusion about the suspension regarding our starting quarterback. Thank you.
And what I did appreciate is if you did that too many times, like you would actually get sanctioned. Like the NCAA would come in and take scholarships away.
Bro, let's go.
I don't know how they're going to handle that this time. They do have the transfer portal. They do have NIL, but it's not called NIL. It's called brand management. So there's going to be some rules around that. It looks to be like a very fun experience. And I was planning on taking that on while I was in maintenance mode for 14, but it looks like I'm going to have to push that off. But that's probably for the best because that when it first gets out, it's EA, so that first 1.0 release is going to be very rough. So I'll probably wait to get it until the inevitable sale during the college football playoff because that free game for everybody. Your sports games, if you're interested in sports games but don't want to get them at release, wait until that sport is in its playoff season. That game will always be half off, at least.
That is such good information.
Yeah, that's the best time to get Madden is during the Super Bowl. It always goes
Yep.
down to about 75% off if it's not already on game. It might pop up on Game Pass. I think it goes on Game Pass when the other Madden is announced, but it definitely goes down to about $19.
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl. It's just a matter of waiting.
Right. So really, you only want to get sports games on release if you care about online play. And by online play, I mean like the competitive
Right.
aspect. Like if you're playing online with friends, like you have a franchise with your friends, you can wait because you don't care about release date. You just want to play with your friends, right? You only care about it if you want to be a day one. I'm grinding this ranked matches because time spent is time earning currency and building up your team and making them better. While I'm talking about this, I have to now pivot to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Yu-Gi-Oh's Master Duel system.
Yes, let's go! Justin! I love it. The two things I can count Justin on, Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece. So I'm waiting for the One Piece drop. I feel like I'll get like a reward for it.
It's like a Hulk Hogan match as a child.
Yeah.
It's like Hulk Hogan, when he points that finger at the person, you go, oh, Hulk's he's taking no damage. You fucked up. Sorry, buddy. Every time, same reaction. You love to see it. Please continue.
It is why John Cena is so popular with the kids. Most online card games operate on this loot box system where you're grinding in-game currency to pull packs to build your deck, right? I often praise Yu-Gi-Oh's system for doing this because they are so generous with in-game currency that you can build conceivably a brand new deck once a month by just playing the game.
Really?
Like just playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Well, one, if you're a new player, you can build just completing all the tutorial challenges, you can build 3 decks. They also have a card crafting system where you can just, if you don't pull the card you need, you can just straight up craft the card. There's a separate currency for that. You can just say, okay, I need this card. Let me just craft this. Bam, I have this card now. So in addition to just pulling packs, you can also desynthesize those packs to get a separate currency and then use that currency from desynthesizing cards you don't use to craft the cards that you do need. So by just playing the game, you can craft 1 deck a month.
Huh.
The way they incentivize people spending money on it is they release alternate artwork of cards. They release new packs like once a month, like every 30 days, they release a new card set. And the way they incentivize you to spend money is, well, hey, these new things dropped. Don't you want to spend some money to pull these packs? And FOMO, because everyone's like, I gotta pull packs. I gotta do the thing. So they rely on FOMO but it's not baked into the game. I have not spent money on this game, and I've been able to, like, every new pack that's come out that has something that I've wanted, I've been able to get, again, by just playing the game. And I think that it is one of the healthier loot box systems I've seen,
Sounds like it.
where where like you need the in-game currency to be competitive, but it is not exploitative in grinding out the in-game currency. Like just playing the game daily and doing your daily challenges, you can pull one pack a day.
Oh, I like that.
Like just by just playing the game and doing your daily challenges, you'll pull a pack a day. Or you can just hoard all of that until the pack that you want drops, spend your money on that, and be like, cool, now I have a surplus of currency that's just gonna sit there. So it's a very healthy system. I applaud it.
I like it. I like to hear this.
Yeah.
Also, I like to hear
So good.
all Yu-Gi-Oh information.
Yeah.
I'm always here for Yu-Gi-Oh information.
I am despondent lately because the deck that I've been using since I've returned to Yu-Gi-Oh has finally got hit.
No.
They inside information that maybe like two people listening care about, but they
I
banned.
care.
You'd be
I
surprised.
care.
I'm always surprised by the amount of people playing Yu-Gi-Oh at any point in time. So please.
So one thing Yu-Gi-Oh does is for Master Duel, they have a new ban list every month. Like every time new cards are released, there's a new ban list. To keep the ban list serves really one function. The ban list is to incentivize you into buying new cards and to stop using older cards. That is the purpose of the ban list is not to make things fair. It is to incentivize you to buy the new unfair cards that they've released. Yu-Gi-Oh! By nature is an oppressive game. The objective of the game, the most effective way to play the game is to prevent the other player from playing. Full stop. The most effective way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And the way most of these cards are constructed is to prevent your opponent from playing. They're not banning old cards because they're unfair. They're banning old cards so you can buy the new unfair card. The deck that I've been using has flown mostly under the radar because while it's competitive, it's never been like really good until it's on uptick in use because people realized, hey, this deck is super versatile. It can play through a bunch of interruptions and it's cheap. So they hit it. They hit one of the boss monsters, which it's an unfair card by design. It lets you, when you summon it, you can just send 5 cards from your deck to the graveyard. And in Yu-Gi-Oh! The graveyard, your discard pile is not a punishment. Your discard pile is your second hand. Like you have your hand, and then you can pull cards out of your graveyard and do all sorts of crazy shit with them. It is not a punishment sending 5 cards to the graveyard. It actively helps you. 9 times out of 10, this is actively helping you.
Also, there's like the graveyard's not permanent.
No, it is not. Not only I can pull things out of the graveyard, I can shuffle them back into the deck. I can banish them to do other cool things. Like the graveyard it is literally my second hand. Like imagine playing spades. And when you play spades, your books, when you win a book, you can go back and take the cards that you've won from that book and use them again.
Right.
That's effectively modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't expect that, did you? Connecting Yu-Gi-Oh! To spades. Anyways.
That's why niggas love it. Hey.
I mean, that's the truth. I've never like.
It's also probably why they're super toxic.
I mean, I'm also that I'm always shocked to see how many people are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like when I go to card shops here in Austin, looking for Gundam parts for Erica's boy. Erica's
Gundam
boy
cards?
themselves. Like Gundam, they put together Gundams like the actual like sets.
Yes.
Construct, yeah. So
I'm
it's like,
oh no, I'm aware.
Right. So there's like the Venn diagram of stores that sell those and have places for you to play card games is a big thick circle that encompasses.
It's
the
just a
entirety
circle.
of
They're the
city.
same store.
Right. It's just the city of Austin. So
right.
So yeah, so I see that and I always see people playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm always shocked by that. And I always wonder if I'll always think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little less popular than it is until I see it in action. And then okay, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is always popping off all the time. That's why there's never a moment where you bring up Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like there's someone listening all the time. That eyebrow goes up when you mention Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time, 100% of the time.
I will have to interview the homie CJ. It's just CJ over on Twitch. So we can talk about the oppressive state. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Exists in 3 forms. Master Duel, the TCG, which is the westernized localization, and the OCG, which is the Japanese localization. The TCG is the most toxic, not because of the players, but that doesn't help, but it's the most toxic because of the pricing structure of cards. It is actively oppressive to people that want to play, more so than other localizations. And the business behind it, it's so baffling to me because it's like, why would anyone play this version of the game when it is so actively toxic and hard to get into? Like they are pricing people out of the TCG. But anyways, they banned the boss monster. They also banned one of the starters, which is a card you play to start your whole combo. They banned half of that and said, "Yeah, you're not playing this deck anymore. Find something new. You're not doing this anymore. Play something new." So I did find something new, and I already know it's about to get banned. Next ban list. I see it happening. So I'm enjoying my time before this next toxic thing gets banned. Um, but yes, that was your Yu-Gi-Oh segue. That's how we connected Yu-Gi-Oh to Madden. They both use a loot box structure, and Yu-Gi-Oh's loot box structure is actually healthier than the Madden loot box structure. It is wild to witness and watch and say out loud.
Is there a sports game with a reasonable structure
No.
at all? Like, I'm wondering now. Like, I've abandoned sports games, outside of like playing like as the Bengals loosely when they're good. Like, just mostly just become Bengals commemoration purchases. So I don't know. I don't engage. Like, I always freely admit that I'm like on the outskirts of town having a soup and sandwich. I'm not in the game in any meaningful way, and I haven't bought 2K with my own money in I guess over a decade. And even when I bought them, I wasn't playing them. I was using the overwhelmingly quality AI to simulate basketball games for my amusement. So I haven't like been even more than ankle deep in a sports game in a long time.
So that is something NBA 2K is really good at because NBA season 82 games. When you're building your franchise, you're not actually well, we're adults. We can't play 82 games in a season, but I can put together this roster and sim these games and see how my machinations are working.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That used to be my jam back in the day. I didn't even realize like I used to be my jam. I would literally like I don't know if you can still do that now because I know the focus is on the individual player, but when I used to play like 2K12, 2K13, you would be able to manipulate the individual AI and animations of every player, and you'd be able to create a player and kind of like start to create weighing their options and what they do, and then you'd be able to have a team and you would have a coach, and if the coach's grade was high enough, then that would govern the efficient responses of your team, how hard they would cut, where they would cut, when they would shoot. But then they would also have their own sliders for AI and animation. So I was like in there for 82 games, like watching. I wasn't watching all of them, obviously, like real basketball, but I was in there. I was in there with the minutia. And I haven't played since, but I was like, does it still let you do that stuff though? Does 2K still let you do that?
they've removed editing individual player animations.
Or about
Your creative, your custom character, you can do the animations.
well, what about the AI? Because that was a thing they used to have
The
like
AI
super tendency.
is as sophisticated as ever. Your coaching does affect how not only how hard certain players play, but the schemes and plays they can call. It is incredibly sophisticated. So I sent something in the chat that I want you to check out, and we can talk about it next show. One of my favorite YouTubers, Kofi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know him. Yes, he's all bangers all the time. But go on. Fumble Dimension, Kofi, yes.
Yes. He has a 2K series where what he does is he takes 2K, starts it at 1983, randomizes all the draft classes, and rebuilds the NBA from that season. But the catch is each season, whatever rules they want, because they let you negotiate the CBA, whatever rules the AI wants to pass, he lets them pass. Things like eliminating the shot clock, abolishing the salary cap.
Oh my God.
It is chaos. It is delightful.
I really love that actually.
Yeah, he was good. He was good for breaking sports. He's good for breaking sports games in the way that I had tried to make sports very optimal. more and but I love the fact that he would just be breaking him and
John Boy.
Boys. Yeah, boy.
John Boy still has the greatest sports documentary I've ever seen, which is what happens if Barry Bonds played an entire season without a bat.
Yeah.
So the whole premise of this experiment is Barry Bonds is not allowed to swing at any pitches.
That's so funny.
God, I
That's
don't
so
want to.
fucking goofy.
They take the season where Barry Bonds broke. Oh, what was it? Where he has like the best on base percentage.
Yes.
They take that season and say, what if he played this season without being allowed to swing at any pitches? And he goes through this entire methodology of like calculating what kind of pitch he would have gotten, the odds of it will be a foul, ball, or strike. And the results of that are, I'm just going to say Barry Bonds needs to be in the Hall of Fame. If you've seen the documentary, you understand, but Barry Bonds needs to
Wait, baseball's still not putting him in the Hall of Fame? Like,
No.
They're still doing the steroid thing?
Yes. Matter of fact, Aaron,
Yes.
Bacon and I are going to take over from here. You are going to spend the next 15 minutes, the next 12 minutes and 46 seconds watching that link I just posted.
I watched this, but I forgot the results. I'm gonna watch this and fast forward. I remember this.
Okay.
So
yes. you're gonna get to the results. You're gonna pop back in when you get the results. And the reason why we wanted to hop on today was we've talked about Fallout 4 before and how largely I enjoy playing Fallout 4, but I don't engage in the narrative of Fallout 4.
Because it's bad.
And I took everyone's word for it that it was bad. Like, I was just largely uninterested in the narrative. I found the guy that kidnapped my son, and I killed him with my Mr. Freeze gun. Like, I froze him and then took a baseball bat and smashed his head. It made me feel very good because you killed my wife and kidnapped my son. Tiffany spent hours constructing the character to look like her. So when he murdered someone that looked like Tiff, I made a gun like Mr. Freeze. I went across the wasteland and I found him. I froze him and I shattered him with a baseball bat. It felt very good. But then I was just largely uninterested in engaging in the game after that. I liked finding settlements and building them up and setting up my trade networks. I like doing side quests because the world is interesting. Like, the world of Fallout 4 is interesting.
It's so good.
The DLC is also really good. Far Harbor is sensational, like narratively, gameplay. Far Harbor is great. Nuka World is silly and absurd, and I'm a fan of silly and absurd. The Autonoma DLC, where you get to make robot companions, you have to deal with like a 1950s era Flash Gordon villain. Again, absurd and silly. I enjoy that. But the larger narrative of, well, don't you want to find your missing son? I'm like, I assumed he's dead because this creep kidnapped him. Like, you took my family away from me and I've got my revenge. I'm good. But Tiff kept telling me to like go through the story, and then everyone else kept telling me to go through the story. So I finally went through the story. And spoilers for Fallout 4.
It's been years. It's fine.
It's actually been about a decade.
We're past the statute of limitations.
Obama was president when this game came out.
Shut up.
Yes.
You've lost your right to talk. I'm kidding.
So your son was kidnapped by this shadow organization called the Institute. The Institute is responsible for the main crime of the Institute is they have created synthetic humans, and they're replacing real humans with synthetic humans because the leader of the Institute, father, believes that people suck, but AI humans that he can control are better. So he creates sentient synthetics humans with free will that he can overwrite to replace real humans. And part of the whole scare of the game is, well, are you a synth or are you not a synth? Objectively, this is bad, right? Like, there's no universe where I can look at that action as anything other than bad. You have created a sentient underclass to be slaves.
Yes.
There's no moral interpretation there. You've done a bad thing. Compounded by there's a faction that wants to liberate these synths from his control called the Railroad. a literal underground railroad to assist a slave underclass. Not subtle Fallout 4, but okay. So this is our main conflict, and then we find out that father is actually your son who was kidnapped and it's taken over the institute. He was raised by the institute, and it's like, okay, this guy, he's your son is now the leader of this evil organization, and you have the chance to either ally with this organization or ally with the railroad. There's also two other factions you can ally with, but largely inconsequential. The Brotherhood of Steel, which they're guys, I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't figured it out yet, this is my first Fallout game, and I figured out immediately that the Brotherhood of Steel was evil. I get that we like power armor, and they give you power armor, and they look cool, but they're evil. They want to purge the world of undesirables. That's bad. There's no universe where the Brotherhood of Steel is good. They want to purge the world of undesirables. That is bad. Full stop. They're the Sentinels.
They are the Sentinels.
There is no universe where the Sentinels are the good guys. Ignore Omega Sentinel, D-Palm. I hear you. I hear you. Ignore Omega Sentinel. They don't count. Omega Sentinel doesn't count.
I found out that you can get the Minuteman ending, but it's some bullshit to get it.
Yeah, like to get the Minuteman ending, you basically have to say piss off to the Institute, piss off to the railroad, have a conversation with I forgot the leader of the Minutemen's name. I forgot Brother Man's name. That's also the reason why I kept hanging out with the Minutemen, because it's like the first guy you meet is a black dude, and I'm like, yeah, black actors.
He's also the only reasonable person in the entire fucking game next to Nick Valentine.
Yeah. So anyways, you have to have a conversation with him. Like it doesn't even pop up as a quest option. You just have to go there and talk to him randomly. It's like, hey, there's some bullshit going on. He's like, oh, word? That's some bullshit? Hey man, let's go fix the bullshit. And you fix the bullshit.
And it's like, and it is random. Like it is a random conversation. Like you don't get it all the time.
And like that's supposed to be the neutral ending, right? Because the game wants you to choose between the Brotherhood, the Railroad, and the Institute. That's what the game wants you to choose between. Gotta be honest. There's one good option. Like I don't know why you would pick. So after I realized what the narrative was doing, I wanted to see what other people thought about the narrative as like when it happened. Most people were lamenting that there wasn't an option to take over the Institute and use them for good. To which I say, oh, you've missed the point of this. Intent versus execution. The intent of this game is to show you that, and Fallout 4 is not subtle because it is the Institute versus the Underground Railroad. You cannot change institutions from within. Institutions are inherently corrupt, and the only way to fix them is to tear them down. That is what Fallout 4 is telling you. That is the intent of Fallout 4. They're telling you institutions are inherently corrupt. The only way to fix them is to tear them down and rebuild. Cool. That is what the narrative is telling you. In execution, it's so bad. The execution of that narrative is so bad. It's so bad. Because why even give you the option to take the Institute and treat it as anything other than evil?
Didn't Mass Effect have problems like this?
Oh my god, please don't make me go on another Mass Effect rant. I've been doing it so much. There's so many Mass Effect rants, but the answer is yes, Aaron.
Thank you.
Like, I get what you're trying to do. I really do. The way you went about doing it was so bad. So bad. Because there is a good story in here somewhere. Right? Like you have the pieces of a good story. The characters in Fallout 4 are endearing.
All of the like there's so much really good world building too. Like the side quest narratives are really great. And then it's just like and it's not even like the entire main story narrative, but it's really towards the end. It's like, oh, you were leading up to this?
Yeah.
this, all of this world, all of the shit that you did was leading up to this.
And so it culminates at the Battle of Bunker Hill, where the Railroad Institute and Brotherhood, if you're a dick, all get involved, and they fight to liberate synths or kill synths, whatever. And as you get to know the Institute, as you get to know the Railroad, and if you choose to, as you get to know the Brotherhood of Steel, it's very clear there's only one good option. But the way that all of these factions interact and coalesce does not feel natural at all. It literally feels like, well, not all, it doesn't feel like it is. They only interact because your character exists. This world does not move outside of your character. Your character is the through line to all of these things. Like nothing is happening without your character. And you're probably listening saying, well, it's a video game. How can you have a world move outside of, how can you have the world move outside of your character in a video game? Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. All the actions that Link takes are set up by things that happened before he picked up the sword. The world moves, and the world has moved, and the world continues to move whether or not Link does the thing or not. The story may not move, but the world is still moving and living and breathing. These people have, if you take the time to talk to people in the different villages, you'll see that, oh, there's a history here. What Fallout 4 does in its side quests is that you have that living world, but in its main quests, everything feels like you are dragging the story to its conclusion. It does not feel like I am participating in the story. It feels like I am dragging a story.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that 100%.
It also doesn't help that again, I get what you're trying to do here, but if that's what you're trying to do, and they want this decision to be hard because like, but it's your son. Do you want to kill your son? And it's like, this is an 80-year-old stranger. This is
We don't know each other.
Yeah, this is wow.
This is an 80-year-old stranger who's replacing humanity with a slave class. Like I get the emotional heartstring you're going for here, but this was a poorly thought out plan. Like they wanted a story where even within the Institute, there are endearing characters in the Institute. So what they wanted a narrative where you have this oppressive institution that is trying in their mind, that is made up of people that in their mind are doing something good. They're trying to help people. They acknowledge the oppressiveness of the institution, but they're determined to use the institute's influence for good. Juxtaposed against people that view that institution as oppressive, and the only way to achieve freedom is the destruction and dissolution of this institute, while having people endearing on all sides, and then you have someone in the middle who's just trying to live their life and find their family. Fallout 4 was trying to be One Piece and they failed miserably.
There it is. I was waiting so long
Masterful.
for it. I was waiting. I'm like, where's the One Piece? I'm waiting for the connection. I got it. I feel happy. I can move on with my life. I feel like I've gotten my dose of Justin.
Because think about it. What Fallout 4 is trying to do is they want this institution filled with people that you're like, well, they're not all bad because this person's good. The Navy is filled with people that are trying to do good and protect the world from pirates. They want to do good, but Oda is not subtle in his messaging. All cops are bad, even the good ones. The good ones especially lament that they uphold an oppressive structure and often question, what are we doing here?
Also
Fallout
true.
4, yeah, Fallout 4 is trying to do that. They just missed the mark, which sucks because there's actually a really fun game in there, which is proof because Fallout 76 is just Fallout 4's engine with a multiplayer aspect and a lot more streamlined MMO style story.
I would agree.
So it intent versus execution matters. You can have all of the good intentions in the world with your narrative, but if you don't pull it off, you can just get something
Beautiful
not good.
gowns.
It requires it seems to require a certain conviction in actual the words you choose that I find certain writers of certain persuasions have difficulty with. So they tend to try to give you the gist, they give you the mist, a little bit of innuendo, side commentary, but they don't actually say it. I imagine that is the problem. Is that the problem with Fallout? Is that they're not saying things directly?
They're not saying things directly
Okay. Yeah,
at all.
That sounds like sounds about right. Very American. You love to see it. Very patriotic.
So that and now that I finally experienced this narrative and I read what people were saying about it real time, it sucks that they fumbled the landing on this one. Because like I said, Fallout 4 is a great game. Like mechanically, it plays well.
There's so much good there. It's so much potential, and it's garbage.
Yeah.
The narrative's garbage. Like the overall narrative is garbage. I just like because like again like there's so much really good world building and like the side stuff and the side content is doing so much heavy lifting for nothing.
Yeah.
All for nothing.
Oh, now you gotta try now you gotta try New Vegas, by the way.
And that's what everyone's telling me. They tell me to try New Vegas.
Well,
but what I've been warned about with New Vegas is while it is narratively superior, it is the Mass Effect 1 of the series. It is not a
It's not that bad. I think
it got one of those it got some visual upgrades on Xbox, so it doesn't feel the same way it did when I first played it. I realized
I also didn't have that much of an issue with it. I was playing it on PC because when New Vegas came out, that's when my that's when like I couldn't hold a controller. So I was playing New Vegas and on my laptop, and one of the things with that game is I could play it and with combat by just point and clicking. I could play it with one hand just clicking using the
mouse.
I mean, it's a laptop, so not the mouse, the pad.
Trackpad.
Yes, using the trackpad. I was able to play just using the trackpad, which should say something for accessibility wise for that game. The settlement building is so fucking fun.
Also, Obsidian is the one that did that one. Obsidian makes better Fallout games than Bethesda. Outer Worlds is also superior to Fallout. Obsidian says what they mean with their chest, especially Outer Worlds. My God. So yeah, I think that's also the issue. It's kind of the same problem Starfield has, is that Bethesda Fallout style games are narratively inferior to Obsidian style Fallout games. So it is what it is. Sometimes it'd be like that. So definitely. I mean, I might finish my playthrough of Fallout 4. I don't know, because I started playing Starfield, and you can always get me into space. Always get me into space, even though that game is dreadfully boring.
I have completed all of the Fallout games, and I have no desire to go back to any of them. I'm feeling pretty cozy. What I will be doing is I will be looking at hot melanated characters in swimsuits and hitting on them, and have meaningful cutscenes with the villagers, because apparently the cutscenes in this have a lot of nuance and whatever. Okay, they had a. I have to state this. No, I know you're laughing at me, but I have to state this with Coral Island. I have to state this is important because we're talking about world building. Some of the stuff that they do have like really significant cultural impacts. Like they had Jesus Christ, my brain. Like they full on have like a full like Chinese like funeral mourning ceremony, and it's actually that. Like it's actually done very
Really?
respectfully. Yes.
Huh. They didn't
Um
yada yada it.
they didn't yada yada it at all. And all of the NPCs have like very in-depth like personalities. Like they're not just like two-dimensional characters. They have like a lot of nuances and stuff around them. So I'm sitting here going like, and the messaging is clear as day.
Huh.
I love clear messaging.
Yeah. Say it with your chest. That makes me happy.
Say it with your fucking chest.
Yeah, listen. Agreed. That is why I yeah. That's my favorite thing about honestly, that is my favorite thing about AAA and indie games. Is simply that messages are delivered aggressively and wholly. And that's nice. That's like above all else, the fact that frankly the energy of games that we were raised by exists in them. But also it's just
It'd be
certain
great if
things.
Fallout could do that. Waiting Fallout. Please.
You gotta play Obsidian's coming out with a game, a Fallout game called Avow.
Is it a
later.
Fallout game or is it an Obsidian game?
So, I mean, they're Fallout style games like Outer Worlds.
Oh, no. I just need to know if it's an actual Fallout
Oh, no,
narrative
only-
Pit Boy
no,
thing
no,
or
no,
if
no,
it's
no,
an
they're not-
Obsidian game doing shit.
No, it's an Obsidian game. There's no more Obsidian doing Fallout. I don't think. I think I don't know if we're doing it. If anyone's doing Fallout, it'll be Bethesda in a few years.
Okay.
There's no more handing off of the Fallout series. Obsidian has now been officially hired by Microsoft. Well before they purchased Bethesda, they had hired Obsidian to make Microsoft games. So that had already been sorted out. So,
That's really funny, actually.
So
So, Aaron, I have to ask, did you get to the end of that video?
yes, I did. To find out that Barry Bonds, in terms of at least getting on base, would be just as good without a bat. My favorite bit is the image of him just like they just like photoshopped an image of him just like regular, the button down and slacks standing there at the plate.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he would have been fine. The only thing we're missing would be the home runs, but his ability to get on base would have not changed. He just
With a bat, his on base percentage was .609. Without a bat, it was .608.
yes.
Okay, because specifically we're talking about we were talking about this. I feel legally obligated to state that the Negro League statistics are going to be finally officially integrated into Major League Baseball database.
Right. Shout out to Josh
Which
Gibson.
means a lot of your stat leaders are now black men.
I love this for all the angry racists.
Oh, they are upset. My goodness, they are upset.
I love it. I'm just getting tingles. Nothing I love more than angry racists.
Yep, Josh Gibson is now the MLB's all-time career leader in batting average and slugging percentage and OPS.
Yep, beating out Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb, a noted racist, like for real vintage hard R. Don't drink at my water fountain. Cross burning racist. And of course he is. If his ghost is ever gonna start haunting people, it'll be right now. Because he has now been overtaken posthumously by Josh Gibson of the Negro League. What did he play for? The Homestead Grays, which is a great Negro League, which is a great name, by the way. Homestead Grays.
They were great.
Would you like to hear a funny story?
Yes, tell me funny story. We'll close out with a funny story. I love these.
All right.
So, MLB has been really pushing the Negro Leagues for the last couple years.
Yes.
Do you know what drove that decision?
Please tell us, Justin, what drove this decision?
MLB The Show, the exclusive baseball game produced by Sony, they were like, hey, you need niggas playing your game. If you want this to make money, you need black people. You have a whole history of black people in this game that have abandoned it. If you want us to sell this game and make a profit, you need to bring them back.
Yup.
So MLB The Show 23 included the Negro Leagues. They also have a great section of the game where you can go through like moments in Negro League history, and they're like they incorporated the Negro League Museum. They tell stories about famous Negro League players, some well known, some not so well known. It's a great presentation. But basically came down to Sony telling Major League Baseball, "Hey, you need niggas back."
Okay, that explains so much. Okay, so actual baseball television productions and the show are night and fucking day, and I didn't understand what was going on. Like regular baseball games on TV are unchanged for 30 years, but the show is black as hell, and I'm like, who is overseeing this? Like, I don't understand.
They've had a black person on the cover of the show for the last 2 years,
right? And the Negro League.
I'm gonna be real. Nobody wants to do that shit. Baseball, I'm not going to say it's a dying sport, but it is a hard sport to get into, and it's a hard sport to like go ham. You're either all in or you're not.
Yeah, what?
Like there's no, it's not. You can't be like a casual baseball fan like you can with like football or basketball. You're either all in or you're not.
There's
and baseball, America's greatest sport, is going through some identity issues right now. Almost all the players are from overseas.
It's still a great pastime because going to a baseball game and watching a baseball game is also night and day.
Yeah, but the games have been getting longer. They keep getting longer.
I mean, they're working on the games being shorter. I feel like the games are shorter, at least on television, but it might be the telecasts.
It's the telecast. They've finally acknowledged it's an issue, but I mean that you're gonna be seeing a lot of changes in baseball because like it is just we're not there anymore. It is.
Baseball made the decision to eliminate personality from their players.
Yes.
Yup.
And as the WNBA is showing you, regions root for teams, right? Like baseball is becoming a regional sport where like you care about your home team, but you don't like nationally. There's no Dallas Cowboys in baseball.
Not at all.
Right? There's no Lakers in baseball. There's not a team that has a national following. It's all very regional. You get national followings with stars. And you get stars. Being good at a sport does not make you a star.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. Star is celebrity, and celebrity is a fabrication, right? Like there's some charisma, and being good helps, but it's largely a fabrication, right?
Yeah.
The WNBA is experiencing an explosion now because they have a new generation of stars. A new generation of stars that they've watched since college. Now they're following those college stars into the pros, right? However you feel about Caitlin Clark, she is a star. She is drawing attention. Angel Reese is a star. She is drawing attention. Cam Brink is becoming a star. And there's another podcast where I will talk about why this is all so very weird. And again, I feel like I see the things happening and I'm like, am I the only one watching what's happening? Like, am I the problem? Anyways.
Tell us what podcast, Justin.
You tell me, because it's not going to be this one, because we're running up against my time limit.
Listen, we can bring you back. The WNBA season,
I assumed that you were actually just going to be doing it with D-Palm. I'm not going to lie.
I mean,
well, that could happen too.
I mean,
I assumed it was already planned. Like, I thought, like, I was being like, yes, go check out D-Palm.
We're ready. If that's the case, then so be it. But I'm ready for some informational double dip, personally. So if you need, I will bring you on here potentially to repeat yourself. because the explosion of the WNBA in popularity is fascinating. And as someone who's been watching it for years before this, you have several salient observations. So we will not hold you to it because Bacon is in pain and you're father of the year. These things come with responsibilities. And but yes, you continue what you're saying. We will definitely be bringing you back for that.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
But the you have stars, and stars bring attention, and stars bring storylines. All of the everything is wrestling. Why do people care about wrestling? It's not because of the product on the field is entertaining. That helps, but what makes that product extra entertaining is the storylines attached to the product that you're watching. You're watching these great feats of athleticism attached to a storyline. We care about Nia Jax beating Bianca Belair because we're like, oh, we're invested in Bianca's knee injury storyline. Is she gonna do it? Is she gonna pull out? Is she gonna get the victory? No, the bad guy wins. Nia Jax wins.
Mm-hmm.
You're invested. You like booing Nia Jax because she is such a good job at being a villain. Right? Like all of these things matter. And that's how you grow a sport. Baseball has decided we're not going to do any of that. And they've watched their sport shrink. And the people that sell the game attached to that sport said, I would like to make money. So we're going to bring in the niggers. You figure out what you're doing over there. We know they spend money on this. So we're going to incentivize them spending money on this by actually acknowledging their history.
Bro, the show is, I don't understand. Like I had played the show and it had been a while since I watched a baseball game. And I was like, where's the hip hop? Where's the Negro League? Where's the Negro League B-roll? Like, where's the discussion? Like, the show will mention the history of baseball all the time as like part of its tagline, part of its production. And I'm like, oh, it's like the rich, inclusive history of America's pastime, all of America. Okay, cool. I'm with that. I'm part of all of America. Let's get it. Major League Baseball on TV wants none of it. MLB The Show is definitely its half black illegitimate son. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I've never seen a product so dissonant, such dissonance between two products about this from the same brand in years. Absolute years. So it's good that you mentioned that because I didn't realize that it was actually a mandate from Sony. Is like, we would like to make money. Please stop being racist. And yeah, good. Yes.
Every now and then, Sony will accidentally do something smart.
I mean, they want money
on accident.
They need it. All the $300 million game a year thing ain't working out for them. Pockets a little light, so they need to get their money. However, whether it be Negro Leagues, shiny Korean robot ass, whatever, they're hard up. So whatever.
Oh
works.
my God! Listen. The way folks have been arguing with me for I don't know how fucking long about how. I think this was one of the rants that made Aaron say, I'm putting a microphone in front of your face. But like the way I've been arguing with bitches for I don't know how fucking long that exclusives are going, and no people were arguing with me and didn't believe me. And then Sony came out and said the we fucking know obvious statement of the goddamn fucking year.
Microsoft has gotten like, I'm not too sure what this is like. There's the narratives that govern all of these game companies is very it's governed. It's now preventing nuance. Like Microsoft is focusing on indie games. It's not trying to do what Sony's doing. There's a weird narrative that by abandoning exclusivity as a way to make money is a show of weakness when it's just an acknowledgement of the market. And also,
games cost too much to make.
Also, you can't be greedy with an exclusive. You can't make maximum revenue with an exclusive product, a video game. You can't do it. Only Nintendo does it. Only Nintendo. And they also don't make $300 million games either.
Right. I mean, the entire reason that they're able to do that is because their entire focus is on innovative play.
Right.
They're specifically going for less expensive games to make, but with more innovative gameplay.
Right.
Which fucking brilliant because gameplay is what matters. I don't know why people want to argue about that.
I think I think the exclusives they relieve the pressure of having to shop for your own games. I've said that before. And now that we're just kind of in a spot where all the games that they're telling you to buy every year aren't great for the most part, or aren't your cup of tea, we're kind of seeing like this user frustration, because if you try to shop for your own games, it's literally 1,000 indie games. Like you're like, oh, God of War, 2K, Call of Duty, Madden, 4,000 indie games. What the fuck is this? They're all $19.99. What do I do? What is this? And there's a certain amount of frustration and like a hesitance to go into the deep end of the pool with that. And yeah, the frustration is creates all types of narratives like that like this. I was reading like when Microsoft, they dissolved multiple studios, and then they were wondering, like, people were openly wondering about like what the value of Game Pass is now. And I was like, the point of Game Pass wasn't for AAA exclusives. It was for a shit ton of weird indie games that you play after work, which is a vast majority of the games we play. And it's like, that's the point of Game Pass. The same way the point of Netflix is, for the most part, to find endless Korean dramas to watch when you are home all weekend, because I've lost the will to go outside. That's the point of Netflix. It's not to see Chris Evans. It's not to see Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling movies. It's not for any of AAA stuff. Not for live action anime. It's for Korean dramas and awkward reality shows, off-brand reality shows you may or may not have heard of. That's the point of it. And it's like that. Like I said, I almost feel like it's so much choice that it is it's like it's scaring people. It scares gamers, so we're kind of like clinging to an old model versus where the games actually are, which are indie games, AA games. But
Also, content's just really expensive to make. Like, movies are fucking expensive to make, shows are expensive to make, and the return is not great.
There is no reason for you to try and create prestige anything right now. That's not really what hooks people. We want the thing about it, we go to prestige programming, we play AAA games in the hopes of certain things. But for the most part, all the strong feelings, all the things that resonate with us are all in side content, cheaper content, focused content that appeals to smaller groups of people more intimately. And to be clear, all the things that we were raised by, and it's kind of the thing I would say, that the games that we were raised by that we want now, like people go, I wish they would make old Resident Evil or Silent Hill. Like, no one believes in Silent Hill anymore, including Konami. Things like that. Gears of War.
No Silent Hill, only pachinko machines.
Only pachinko machines. The games that when they originally came out were indie and AA games. So the original Silent Hill was made by like 20 niggas. You know what I mean? It's like the original Resident Evil was like an offshoot passion project from, again, 30 people. Those are AA game. These are AA games. These are indie games. And them becoming AAA games that govern all this attention, that take up all the air in the room, was not the design. It's not the intention. It's almost like an abomination, when really the games that raised us and the games we desire, whether we know it or not, are all AA indie games. So, and I've always commended Microsoft for kind of focusing on that. I got Hellblade 2 just came out. Super amazing game. But it seems as though, people say there's no games, but AAA games really are hard to make. They take a long time. So here, have these 45 indie games and AA games. Play something, please. We can't do Hellblade every year. Don't listen to Sony. They're lying. We can't do this every year, guys. These take about 2.5 years to do, and it costs a lot of money. We just can't. But I digress. All of this is for other programs. Also, I'd like to apologize for pulling up short. I was supposed to name the last episode Flawless Like Her Ass Cheeks, in reference to Megan the Stallion of Houston, Texas. Notable artist and local area rapper. And I didn't. So as penance, the name of this episode will be Flawless Like Her Ass Cheeks, despite there being no context or reference to Megan Thee Stallion's ass cheeks. So I will formally apologize to you, Bacon.
I was so upset.
I'd like to formally apologize. I'd like to apologize to Justin. I'd like to apologize to the listeners and the American public for not being the best show naming person I could be. And I will compensate for that. So, yeah, just thought I would have a moment of honesty with everyone, wrap up the show. I'm sorry to end the show on such a serious note. And
please go to our Patreon. Please just go to our Patreon.
We have to put more stuff on it. Patreon.com/UN Fridays. I gotta put more stuff on it. I put more videos on it. But yes. Apologies. Thank you guys for listening. And I promise I will be a better man tomorrow.